Yo, guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Marijuana SA Weekly. And today we're interviewing Mahmoud from Dutch Passion, one of the biggest seed producing companies globally. And we're going to be talking to him about the medical strains that people are the most desirable medical strains at the moment. They obviously have a history of breeding different genetics, and we get the pleasure to hear a little bit about it. Dean, what are you expecting to hear today? What kind of questions do you have lined up?
No, I think it's we speak a lot about sort of the we cater a lot of our content towards sort of beginner styled information, but in South Africa we're obviously looking at a space where there is a sort of a commercial scene developing, and what kind of thought patterns do commercial growers go through with relation to genetics. So hoping to learn a little bit more about what makes a strain viable for commercial or for medical cultivation. And see sort of and hear maybe what kinds of specific strains Dutch Passion has had success with in that range, because I think a lot of home growers want to go for sort of the trendiest and the newest, but I would imagine in the commercial space it's maybe a little bit different. You're looking for things like stability
100%.
and data.
Yeah.
So let's see what Mahmoud has to say.
Hey, Mahmoud, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Well, and yourself?
Dean, what did you want to?
Thank you.
Dean, what did you want to find out first about the strain selections?
So like I said in the introduction, we're quite keen to learn a little bit more about sort of the commercial applications of specific cannabis strains. So I suppose the first question I'd want to find out is what makes a strain viable for commercial cultivation? Like, when would a company start to push something into that kind of space?
Yeah, so our traditional market is, of course, the recreational home grower. The home grower does not mind if a variety has a few phenotypes, because usually they are growing for their own supply. And if you're smoking your own varieties for a few months, then it's nice to have a bit of a difference, So phenotypical differences can come to express in taste and in effect and everything. So for the small home grower, that's not an issue. But if you're talking about bigger commercial growers, then of course stability, uniformity is more something that comes into play, especially also when it comes to the chemical profile. So big commercial growers, they have different needs than the small home grower. So they're looking for varieties that are stable, have less phenotypical differences, and are more, like, let's say, standardized. So we have a few varieties that are pretty stable. They have not been bred to total stability like you see in the normal vegetable and flower production, because this does take a lot of effort. But we have a few varieties like, for example, Merengue or Mazar or Blueberry OG that is actually pretty stable, and those varieties are suitable for commercial setups. But in the meantime, we are also working. We collaborated now with a professional company from the normal seed industry. These guys have been big in tomato and paprika breeding, and together now we are cleaning up a few varieties of ours. And this will be out of flower varieties, and they are cleaning the lines genetically. So these are not genetically modified organisms, but they do use a laboratory to clean up the lines, and then we're going to create a very stable, uniform product that's especially targeting the licensed producer market. So there's different needs, and we are actually making a special production for these kind of customers.
And why specifically autoflower on those varietals?
Because these tend to be pretty stable. They have a short lifespan. Those big growers, they usually grow from clone normally. So they select mother plants, then they clone them and they grow them out. And this process takes about 2.5-3 months. And you can actually achieve the same thing with the autoflowers. They also have a limited lifespan. So in this case, you will have the advantages of growing clones when it comes to stability, uniformity, and also have the same practical solutions for sowing from seeds, because you do not have to select mothers, you do not have to maintain them, you do not have to cut the clones, you don't have to propagate the clones. You can just very easily propagate seeds and plant them straight away. So that's like less labor intensive and easy way of planting.
Is there
I
a
mean,
specific?
that's
Sorry, is there a specific cannabinoid that you guys are targeting at the moment, or that I suppose it's obviously a supply and demand, like the different pharmaceutical companies maybe want CBD or CPG or THC or THCA. Obviously, it's difficult to breed as quick as that, so you kind of have to anticipate where it's going. Is there something you're targeting at the moment or noticing a exceptionally high demand for?
Well, like we like to be innovators, like we have done already with, for example, the feminized seed technology and auto flowering and CBD varieties on the later stage. So we do like to keep up on that, and we are focusing on different cannabinoids already. So in our collection currently, you can already find CBG rich varieties, CBDV and THCV rich varieties. And we are also working already on 2 different cannabinoids that hopefully going to be available in the next few years. So we are actually ahead of the market, but we do notice that the most commercial licensed growers, they still have most interest in either THC or CBD, because this is what the market is asking for the moment. We do notice that CBG is increasing in popularity, but at the moment, the biggest part is still THC and CBD that's being grown.
And for your CBD offering, what's the most popular cultivated CBD varietal?
Well, it's for CBG is very the offers are still very limited. We have a CBG Force, which is a CBG rich variety, and we have it in a photoperiodic version, and we have it in an auto flowering version. So there's actually only 2. But commercially, they are pretty interesting. They're quite stable. They have a high CBG percentage. But I think the industry, and also especially the patients and everything, they still need to discover CBG and all the medical benefits it has, because CBD has been going on for a while already, has been going mainstream. So people know about CBD, they know about the effects, and especially for the elderly, the more like the older generation, like let's say 50, 55 plus, people start having some little discomforts here and there. Health is maybe not as it was a few years ago, maybe a bit of arthrosis or like pains here and there. And then they heard about CBD. CBD went pretty mainstream, and now they've tried it and they had good results. But CBG can also be very beneficial for different ailments. It's like anti-inflammatory effects and those kind of things. So, but I think we need more knowledge and more exposure to CBG before it can really take off.
Great. Is there a market that's particularly popular at the moment? Are you seeing a lot of growth in obviously the medical space, large facility, new markets potentially, as opposed to the standard?
So let's say from 2018, we have been supplying the medical market. So this started with Canada, of course, because Canada legalized recreational medical. This was really the first country that opened up. So in 2018, 2019, we have supplied a lot of Canadian LPs. We were also on the list provided by Health Canada as one of the legal starting points for starting material. So they did a lot for us. Later on, they opened up the regulations, so now you can get your seeds from anywhere. So this automatically made also the orders for Canada decrease on our side. But on the same time, other countries are opening up, because as you guys know, these are very exciting times for cannabis. Countries are opening up more and more. So like big markets for us now is, for example, Portugal and North Macedonia. There's a lot of licensed producers over there. But now, since let's say last half a year, something like that, Thailand has been taking a lot of orders as well, and they just legalized 2 weeks ago fully, like on the 9th of June, they legalized recreational and medical cannabis. So now we see that Thailand is booming. and so it goes everywhere. As soon as a new country opens up, you see there's a lot of increase, a lot of interest from this country, and then we start talking to people and make the first orders, and then we try to keep that stable, and then before you know it, there's the next country opening up.
And Germany was quite big as well recently with their changes in legislation.
Yeah, but they legalized medical cannabis, but they did not want to grow themselves. So they first started to import only. So we have supplied big LPs outside of Germany, but that were supplying the medical market. So the end product did get there. But now I think they're changing as well. So they're going to start growing in Germany as well.
Interesting.
So, but at this moment, they're still laying out the framework and everything. So I think Germany will be a big market, but up to now they're still in like preparation phase.
And there's one more strain I want to ask about. On the CBD side, we've had quite a lot of experience with the CBD Charlotte's Angel. Is that one of the popular choices for someone who's wanting to cultivate CBD specifically?
Yeah, for sure. CBD Charlotte's Angel is a very stable and a very nice strain to grow. It has a very rich CBD profile, like up to 15% of CBD. THC levels are guaranteed below 1%. It gives a lot of biomass. It's a good productor, and besides that, it has a beautiful terpene profile as well. So not only for medical applications you can use it, but also as let's say a daytime pleasant smoke. That's the first CBD varieties. If you wanted to consume them, they were not really nice in taste. They had some CBD, but that was about it. But CBD Charlotte's Angel is really like a nice recreational strain that people really enjoy consuming, and besides that, it also has a CBD percentage. So this is definitely our number one CBD variety, and also when it comes to our medical licensed producer customers, this is the number one strain they go to. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I must say I've seen some of the biggest buds I've ever seen was from one of our clients, CBD Charlotte's Angel. I think he pulled well over a kilogram per plant. Yeah. He managed to grow some massive nugs. So I've seen it myself, and when you see the end flower, it's indistinguishable from sort of a THC varietal, I would say.
Yeah. Now, most people they don't even believe it's CBD only. They say like, wow, it has beautiful flowers, beautiful smell, and when they consume it, if you smoke enough or consume enough, you will feel something of the THC, even though it's such a low dose. But it will give you something, and also then the effect together with CBD, it makes for a very unique experience actually. And some people they said, I can actually smoke this instead of my THC. Some people actually went from THC to CBD only, or like low THC varieties, just because they like the pleasant high and relaxation, and you don't have the paranoia or the bad effects for some people that THC brings. So it's a very nice alternative daytime smoke as well.
Fantastic. Mahmoud, thanks so much for coming on today and sharing a little bit of info. As always, we really, really appreciate it. It's always such a pleasure.
Cool. Always my pleasure to be here.
Thanks. Cheers.
Good day, guys.
Yeah, it's nice to get some snippets into kind of what the commercial market is looking for, because I suppose over time, like Mahmoud was saying, it is going to change. I mean, it's heavily into the THC now, but as these old cannabinoids start to gain popularity, I'm sure people are going to start. But I suppose it's also a double-edged sword, because commercial producers aren't going to farm something until it's proven to be popular within the market, so it's going to take trailblazers, I suppose, to push these new alt cannabinoids. But I'm also glad we got to hear a bit about the Charlotte's Angel, because that's one of the most exciting strains for me personally.
I also it's always interesting how they actually look to the existing agricultural sector for advice and like info on how to stabilize genetics, because like we always forget that like someone commented as well last week, but it's like agriculture sector has been doing seed refinement for many, many more years than in the cannabis space. You know, they've got those like milli seeds down to a down to a
Yeah,
T.
like
You know, it's
trademark names of specific tomatoes that are going to give you the exact same tomato on every plant, you know,
and
that's
not
where the
GMO,
cannabis industry needs to go. I
Mm.
mean, it's just breeding practices, you know, and I suppose going into tissue culture where you get access to actually like scrub the genetics for pathogens and things like that, you know, the technology is going to drive hard, and stability for a commercial, for a businessman too. You're going to choose something that's going to give you this many grams per square meter at this much THC consistently across the board, you know. And I don't think many cannabis strains are at that point just yet. But it's interesting to see the market, sort of the commercial market, want, you know, for Mahmoud to agree that is what they're looking for.
100%. Guys, this has been the first bit of positive news with Thailand and the legalization happening, coming on. So always make sure to stay tuned here for information on genetics, growing and legalization and everything in the cannabis space. And obviously you guys' support means the world to us. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does go a long way. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Peace.
Peace, guys.